Hey, this is Pastor Larry here with Ask Larry, and Chad from Wisconsin has a great question. How do you clarify and instill vision in a place that hasn't had much vision? It's a question I get asked quite often. And Chad also says I'm welcome to Wisconsin anytime, and sounds good to me as long as it's not January or February. We'll pick up that later. But when it comes to vision, let's think about this for just a couple of moments, because what a lot of us have been told is really some pretty bad advice. And the bad advice is this. We have been told to proclaim vision, proclaim vision, proclaim vision. And here's what I like to point out to people. If you were in a startup mode, frankly, even in a business, not just a church, if you're in a startup mode, you proclaim your vision, you preach your vision, and you gather to that vision people who want to follow that vision. However, when you were in an existing organization where the vision needs to be changed, where it's been muddy, or where maybe there has been no vision, the worst thing you can do is to proclaim the vision. Because what you actually are doing is you proclaim vision, you are arming all of those who are resistant to it with your game plan. There's a famous scene in the movie Patton where Rommel, the German general, has had all of his tanks destroyed. And he was this incredibly successful general. And Patton is up on a hilltop looking at the smoldering tanks. And he says, "Rommel, you magnificent blankety blank, I read your book." In other words, Rommel had talked about warfare and his methods and his vision. And Patton knew exactly what he was going to do and was able to sabotage that. That's exactly what happens when you and I preach vision or preach new culture too often. Because in reality, vision is just a statement of the direction of where we're headed. This is where we're headed. This is what we're going to do to get there. And this is what it's going to look like when we get finished. So how do you go about that? Well, the first thing you do is you simply start taking steps in the direction of the vision that you have. You don't advertise them, you don't proclaim them, you just take them. Because think about it, here's how people respond to change. Poorly. Here's how people think when change is brought up. How is this going to impact me? So the moment you start talking about change and vision, all they hear is, how's it going to impact me? And if there's any loss of power, prestige, or preference, here's why I don't like it. But if you simply take little steps, people often won't even notice you've taken those steps. What will happen is they'll go, that's not the way we do it around here. The second time they'll go, what's up with that? And the third time they'll go, well, that's the way we've always done it. Throughout the years at North Coast Church, it was a church plant when I came, but it was about a year and a half old. So what that meant is there were already some steep traditions at the church, some of which needed to change, particularly if we were going to have a vision to reach our community and to reach lost people. My biggest mistake was I proclaimed those visions, which told people what you were doing was wrong, the previous leader was wrong, none of which I was trying to do. And by the way, here's how to sabotage what we're going to do. Once I learned this new approach, which was simply do the vision, and after you've done it for a little while, people will think this is how we've always done it, I found that resistance dropped dramatically. Not that there aren't people who are resistant. Not that there aren't even some people who are evil and want to sabotage God's plan. But there's no reason for me to increase their angst. There's no reason for me to cause people who would go along with a change in methodology if I didn't have a change in words on the front end, if I didn't talk about change on the front end. There's no reason for me to do that. So that's what I encourage you to do. Figure out the direction of where God is calling you, Chad, and then begin to take steps in that direction. And you will quickly discover who is helping you get there, who will never want to go there, and then just keep on marching. And it won't be long until you look back and you go, my gosh, how did we get this far?